I wanted to make a video on my personal experience with helping overcome low self-esteem and different things I did, I implemented in my life that helped kind of self-improve and dig myself out of that hole. And I know it's different for everybody. There's different circumstances. These are going to be very general things, but that were very beneficial to me. They may not work for everybody. I understand that. But if anybody out there sees this and maybe they implement one thing and it helps, I think that's good. But I think it's good to just hear different people's perspective on these things. And there's not a lot of real people help out there, like videos I see on YouTube of just different people talking, sharing their experiences. So I just kind of wanted to share things I did that helped, because I know this is a big part of a lot of people's problems in life can stem from low self-esteem, and it literally can impact everything: work, personal relationships, romantic interests, just how you go about your day. And I've suffered with these problems, so I just want to get in here and share different things I did that helped me overcome that. So, and these might be extreme, but I think they really worked for me when I started to actually analyze and do these things in my life. So the first thing would be, I really stopped listening to sad music, which I listened to a lot of sad music when I would say at my lowest points in life, and it just became a part of my mentality. It became a part of what I identified as. It was always affecting my mood. So I think if you can start to minimize that and really start listening to more music that really lifts up your spirits, it really helps change your mentality on a day-to-day basis. And just kind of like how the words that come out of your mouth really should almost be more positive too, in a way. So the first extreme thing I really did was, I noticed I listened to a lot of sad music and it was really affecting my mood, and it just came like a personality trait at that point. So even if it's really good music and it might be good but it's still sad, anything that kind of lowers your mood, I would start to minimize that. If you can, cut it out completely, which really helped. It was just one of the first steps I did. I'm not saying that's like the biggest thing, but it was one of the first things I noticed that helped me. So yeah, that would be number one. And the second thing I will say that honestly should have been really my first thing was, it really all starts up here. And I know it's cliche to say, but you have to have a ray of hope in your mind that you want to change, and you have to have a mindset of, I don't want to be stuck with like low self-esteem my whole life. I want to become more self-confident. I want to feel proud of myself, feel confidence. And you can't accept the victimhood of low self-esteem first. So I think if you have, even if anybody's like watching this video, clearly there's something in you that wants to overcome it. If like you searched for a low self-esteem video, and you have to have a little bit of fight in your mind to want to get better. So if you're not being stuck in this loophole and letting it affect your whole life, I think if you want to change, that is good. That is step one. So again, just identifying the problem and wanting to say, hey, I want to be confident with myself. I want to be a positive person. I think it all starts there. So I think that's going to be definitely the biggest point here, really. And the next thing that really helped me was social media. I did a lot of comparing myself to other people, just seeing people flexing on Instagram, not even flexing material things, just expensive trips, relationships you're jealous of, or not jealous of, just jealous or kind of envious of, just, I want to be in a relationship. I don't have a relationship. I'm seeing a bunch of people in relationships posting on Instagram. I would be complete if I had these things. And it's an unhealthy mindset, but I think if you have a healthy relationship with that, it's not as big a deal. But for me, at least, it was really impacting mentality. Just scrolling Snapchat, Instagram every single day, seeing other people live out their lives, and my life isn't so great, I guess, as these things I'm seeing. So if you can completely, I would cut it out, but that may not be realistic for a lot of people. So one thing I did personally was I put all my social medias on my old phone, and I just literally, when I come home every day, I check and just see if someone has like texted me or anything. But my main way of contacting people is through text message or phone calls. But yeah, I think if this affects you, it's very important. Just even if you don't, I have an old phone, but before I got my new phone, I kind of hid the apps on my iPhone, or if you can, just have the willpower to just not look at them, I would do that. But however is realistic in your life, I would find a way. If you do have a problem with like comparing yourself to people, minimize your social media use to as much as you can. I effectively don't have any, but I would say the only kind of hard part about that is keeping up with kind of the news around you, world news, local news, and friendships. So I think the people you're really close with and talk to on a day-to-day basis, get their phone numbers and tell them like, this is how you want to start communicating. But yeah, it's really negative for your mental well-being, especially if you do have like low self-esteem and you do have a problem with comparing yourself to other people. At the end of the day, you should really only be comparing yourself to the best version of yourself and what your best version of your life looks like. So however you see, because realistically, some people in life start out up here, they start in a healthy family, they come from a wealthy background, they come from a good community, good people around them. Some people start down here born into a family with little to no money, with a broken household, in a toxic neighborhood. All different circumstances could be either way. So why would it be healthy for someone right here to be envious or compare yourself more rather to someone that was like born in that circumstance? So it's not fair to yourself at all. So I think, and the world's not fair. So I think the best thing you could do is really what is the best version of you see for your life, and realistically. So, and that's the only person you kind of need to have like a mental competition with, because that's the only like fair thing in life. You're competing against somebody that's realistically the best version of your life. And that's how I kind of had to see myself a few years ago, when I really started to kind of focus on my self-improvement and just my self-esteem and confidence. But also this does come from my last point, which was the kind of having the willpower too. So that's why I think that is step number one, because to even have this mental model, you need to want to change in a way. So that it kind of ties into everything in this list. And I think the next thing would really be self-improvement as a whole. You have to focus a lot of your time mentally, especially because I will say, at least for me, low self-esteem was really tied to your you're almost being selfless mentally and emotionally with a lot of people around me. So not having good boundaries with people and emotionally letting people walk all over me and different things. So I think if you really start to focus on self-improvement, so this could be starting to do things that impact, spending your time more wisely on things that directly impact your life. So for me, this may not affect everybody's life, but things like watching sports or playing video games and different things of that nature, stuff that didn't really have a benefit to me. I noticed like little things I just started to kind of eliminate from my life to help make room for things I can improve on. So spending more time taking walks or working out or joining clubs or different things in your city, meeting people, going to church, different things that would just help directly and be beneficial to your life. And I think is a really big thing. And just, it's not just video games or sports, or it could be things like watching a lot of TV or scrolling Instagram. Just, I think the more you live life outside and experience the world, the better off mentally it will be for your self-esteem. And which really will tie into the next point that really was really something really big I known since being a kid, was developing a good social surrounding, a good social circle. I won't go all into details, but like in high school and middle school, low self-esteem was probably the biggest, most affecting in my lifetime. So I was scared to talk to people, like isolated, and I didn't make a lot of friends because of that. And I was always like a very shy kid, just kept to myself. So I really started, I think, once I got into like my college years, started to grow out of that a little bit. But even after graduating college, I moved back home and I really didn't know anybody. So I had to start that process kind of over again. And it's a lot harder in your 20s, I will say. So even for the point of this video, I will say this is kind of more for like, if you're in a working stage of your life in your 20s, post-college and high school, because I feel like those should be your main networks of social circles if you're in that time period. But speaking from somebody in their 20s, post-college, just working, it's going to sound cliche, but I think it's important to establish something you're passionate about and finding a group of people that also share that passion and does that thing. So like meeting for a club or something like that meets at least monthly. I mean, it'd be better weekly, bi-weekly, something that meet, because the more you do experiences with people, the more deeper your bonds and relationships will come. And I think deeper relationships are the best way to develop real friendships than like surface level things. So in doing activity-based things is, I believe it's like almost scientifically proven to help establish relationships when you're like sharing an obstacle or a goal or something like that you're actively doing. And it's different because I'm an introvert and I always have been. So even putting myself out there, getting my foot in the door to like do these things was kind of hard, you know, just experiencing all these new people and different things. But I think what helped me actually do it was I started to focus on, if I go to something, like kind of meet one person, focus on just meeting one person. You don't have to be the center of attention there because you're the new person. Just really, I would try, and if it's harder, some people it may be more natural, but I think like when you're joining something new or anything like that, meet one person and develop a relationship with them before trying to just meet everybody and you can't remember 15 different names. Establish one good relationship with one person and continue to do that with one person, and naturally you will start to become more involved with the other people, and you will develop a deeper friendships with these people quicker than just being surface level too much with everybody. So I think that's definitely one of the biggest ways that helped me start to meet people moving back into my hometown after college. And that was just a way I started to also gain more self-confidence doing that. And let's see, yeah, so this could literally, if you like sports, different types of art, whatever you can find, you can join that you're passionate about. And it really needs to be something you're passionate about, because if it's not going to stick and it's just going to feel like a chore. So I think it's important. It's something you actually enjoy doing. So there's mutual benefit of like you're making friends and doing something you enjoy. So it's not feeling forced. And another thing I will say, my next point, which kind of would tie into that one, is I know with low self-esteem, it was very, you start to feel, especially like in relationships, you feel, if I had a relationship, I wouldn't really feel this way. But I mean, I feel like, I don't know if I'm an outlier on this, but I think if you think that relationships causes you to feel like, if you're not in one, if it makes you feel low self-esteem or depressed, I mean, I can agree to disagree with people on this, but I don't think that's the root of the problem. I think it's just what a lot of focus is on. I think having deep and meaningful relationships with people around you and like friendships will, if you do have that, well, at least for me personally, like I said, this might be different for everybody, but I felt like that was more important than trying to focus on finding a relationship, which was finding a good network and a good social circle of people around you and feeling genuine love just from friends around you. Because I feel like that is a big plot hole of people like really, really, really just wanting to be in a relationship, is maybe lacking genuine friendship and around you and a good social circle. And I feel like, not that you need one before the other, but if you have a good social circle and things, it will make a relationship feel much more easier and easier to find one, probably too, at least in my experience. So I think before worrying about, because you need to be comfortable being alone because if you're not comfortable with yourself by yourself, it doesn't make for a healthy relationship, to say the least. So you need to feel comfortable being alone, not in a relationship, and kind of being just comfortable with the people around you and your friendships and your social circle. And that way it's not really an emotional toll you're having on your partner that you need them or cannot live without them. It needs to be a healthy relationship. So yeah, it doesn't have to be, I mean, it might work for some people, like if they do find a girlfriend first before that, but I still feel like it's very important to establish a good social network if you're not there yet with them and you only have a girlfriend or boyfriend. So yeah, that would be my fourth or fifth point. I forgot where I'm at. Next would be toxic relationships in your life, and not like romantic. I mean, if it's with family, friends, or even romantic, any type of toxic relationships, I think, really have to be almost cut off, or you have to establish boundaries. And that was a big hard part for me, because if you're staying in these toxic friendships or different things that, that are not like meeting your emotional well-being or bringing you down, you have to put yourself emotionally first. It's a big step to take to getting out of like low self-esteem mindset and depression. So standing up for yourself, really, especially emotionally well-being. And it's harder, I will say, depending on where you are in life. Like the younger you are, it's harder, but I think as you grow older and more established and independent, like with yourself, like I said, more independent, it's easier to really maintain boundaries, especially if you're well off. So like if you're in high school and you have toxic family and things, I know it's a lot harder. So, and I'm more so speaking kind of, I guess, if you're in your 20s and more independent, really. But yeah, maintaining boundaries with people is to protect your own emotional well-being is a big thing. And I know it's harder for people, but you have to just learn to take that step. It might be baby steps, but really you have to almost protect your mental state with these people. So, and that doesn't mean being mean to them. It does not mean like insulting. Just, you have to stand up for yourself in a way. So it's very different, definitely a broad statement I'm making here, but if you can learn to create boundaries respectfully with people, and if after that they don't respect those boundaries, then you might just have to end the relationship with them. But like I said, it's harder, it's different when you're younger. I can acknowledge that. And so I definitely think if you're more established, kind of independent person in your 20s, 30s, or however, it's definitely something you can actually do. So that's the next point. And finally, I will kind of tie back into the first point. Everything really starts up here, especially because personally, it was where it started for me. I mean, I really had these problems most effective in my life up until I think 2 years ago. I saw something better for myself and my future. And I didn't want this to be me. I didn't want it to be a personality trait. I didn't want it to control the rest of my life. Always knew I wanted a normal, healthy lifestyle, you see, a healthy family, and like to grow up with a sense of normalcy, and I didn't want to be identified with this and just people always wonder what's wrong with me. So if you want to grow mentally, that is the first step, that you have to almost just have a little bit of hope, to see a little bit of light. It will really help you. And that's what helped me. I wanted to get myself out of this tunnel. So those were, I think, the biggest steps I've took. I may not be hitting on everything, but personally, those are some of the biggest things. And actually, I won't end it yet. Going back into like the self-improvement thing, I think if you start to just do healthy habits, even if you don't enjoy them, like just little things you can do, so that kind of focus on your well-being. So that may be taking care of yourself physically, staying in shape, eating right, enjoying nature, or whatever brings some sort of mental clarity to you, I think is a big step. Because with low self-esteem, you're always in your head, maybe your self-worth. But if you force yourself to almost do things that benefit you repeatedly, I think it's a good thing and I think once you maintain a mental model to actually get outside and just kind of do things, force yourself to, almost in a way, it really helps. But all that starts with the mental model. I know, like, if you don't have the right mental frame, you can't force yourself to do really anything that I'm like talking about here. So I think that's definitely the biggest takeaway I can honestly get from this video is you have to control what's up here, and at least your willpower to want to change. If you have even a little bit, that will kickstart a lot of things. So baby steps with everything, which unless you have the ability to take larger steps. But for me, this was kind of even a 2-year process to even get where I am now. So moving your own pace. But I think if you have any sort of fight and willpower, that things can change for the better. It's just you have to kind of believe in yourself every day, every single day, and do little things that can implement this. And I pretty much have shared everything I can think of, but if I somehow do have more to say, I will definitely upload that. So keep fighting. This isn't an overnight battle. This is 2 years and counting of me, of really kind of implementing things and facing the problem head on. So this isn't overnight. This will not change overnight, but I think baby steps will help. And the start of it, like I said, will be the want to change, but keep fighting. Baby steps. Challenge yourself every day to do something different and more beneficial, and put yourself out there. That'll help you gain a little confidence. And it might take longer for some people. I'm still definitely growing. I always will be. And just keep fighting and believing in yourself.